This is Cutting Down the Nets Tuesday, March 7th. I'm super behind today, so I want to get through these games very, very efficiently. You can follow any plays I've made on BetStamp, user ID CDTN. Follow me on Twitter. I post the spreadsheet you're seeing daily. And let's get right to these games. I think there are some interesting games out there today. So let's take a look at our sheet. I'm working off one monitor again. God rest my soul. Okay, start off with Grand Canyon UT Arlington. UT Arlington comes in with a record of 11-20. Grand Canyon 20-11. Torvik, Arlington 235. Canyon 127. So we got some big disparity here. But then shot quality. Arlington 180. 158 for Grand Canyon. So these teams are pretty close in shot quality for having a spread that's almost double digits. If you look at the Arlington or the Grand Canyon profile, you're going to see a defensive drop. First half of the season, very strong. Second half of the season, very weak. This is tied to the loss of Javon Blackshear. They had an adjusted defensive efficiency of 94.9 with Blackshear and have been 110.4 without him. Now, some of that 110.4 includes some, a little bad three-point luck, things like that. But at the end of the day, this player mattered, and their defense has been very, very different since they lost him. So he played up till, I believe it was January 5th against Sam Houston State, and they've been without him and will continue to be without him the rest of the way. So, with that in mind, you have shot quality close, you have Paddy close, and you're trying to figure out why is Paddy close. That's why. So, most sites are going to wait the entire year. I am looking only at recent games, and basically all of my data points are without Javon Blackshear. Florida State and Georgia Tech is happening right now. I did not bet that game. Main reason, it's a big Paddy number, but it's all three-point driven. In the last 5 games, Georgia Tech shooting 39% from 3 while allowing 26. Florida State shooting 31% from 3 while allowing 45. So, yeah, if this was more neutral, you'd see a spread or a Paddy number right in line with what the spread is. So that's a pass for me. That is why you just don't blindly bet a model, but you provide some context to it and try to see why is it showing what it's showing. Next up is New Hampshire and UMass Lowell. New Hampshire can protect the ball. UMass Lowell forces turnovers. So what will happen? Well, in the last meeting, UMass Lowell was able to turn them over 17 times. Don't know if that will happen again. Again, it's kind of uncharacteristic for New Hampshire to turn the ball over. However, that conference doesn't apply a lot of pressure. Those are the kind of edges in March Madness you'll see is sometimes turnover, rebounding numbers are driven by the amount of games you play against people that either want to do that or not do that. So, something to look at. So, here's why I'm considering UMass Lowell. Why I'm not is it's minus 12. I hate big spreads, laying big spreads. So, in the last 2 games against New Hampshire, Lowell has gotten 32 and 36 shot attempts at point blank range, so like right at the rim. They split those meetings, but in the big win, I think they won one game by like almost 30 points. They went 20 out of 36 or 24 out of 36 at the rim, something like that, like a typical rim number. And in the loss, I believe it was like 13 out of 32 or something at the rim. So get that many opportunities at the rim, and I like the Lowell side. I'm just kind of shaky with the current number. This next one, kind of tricky. Recent shot quality looks good for Merrimack. Paddy looks good for Merrimack. Merrimack's playing well. This is not a dream matchup for Merrimack. And Fairleigh Dickinson did sweep the season series. So the matchup concerns here are turnovers and offensive rebounds. Basically, Merrimack, although number 1 in forcing turnovers, they themselves don't take care of the ball. And Fairleigh Dickinson can exploit that. And Merrimack is an awful rebounding team. So I'm leaning into the data here, but there is some matchup concerns worth pointing out. Utah Tech and Stephen F. Austin, there was a 3.5 to open. I missed the good line, so it's kind of the ship sailed at this point, and now I have a situation where the line has Paddy on one side, which is the average recent efficiency, and then Paddy median, which is the median recent efficiency. And sometimes those numbers are close. That's not the case here. So that is a pass for me. New Orleans, Northwestern State is next. Northwestern State won the first game by 23 points and lost the second by 3. But the first game was tied with like 12 minutes to go. There's going to be runs in these games. If you look at the game flow of the games, not only that they've played against each other, but just this style of ball, you're going to see a lot of ups and downs. Like even in the game that New Orleans won by 3, I mean, I want to say they were down even 8 late or something like that. I don't know. You're going to see some swings either way. That game's orange. For me, I'm not sure where I'll go there. Northern Arizona at Montana, not at Montana, versus Montana next. Both these teams, I don't like their shot selection. They shoot too many jumpers. I do think both teams have a fair amount of shooters on them. Like Jalen Cohn's a good shooter for Northern Arizona. They played 2 1-point games in the regular season. Matchup seems fairly neutral. So just in terms of value, like a plus 5.5 for a game that my data, shot quality data, views as pretty much a toss-up, just feels like value. And in the game that Northern Arizona lost to Montana, they were 3 out of 16 from 3. So that's a side I like there. UMass Richmond, I missed this tip, so it's irrelevant. Shot quality had it close to a pick'em. I had it close to a pick'em. The line was close to a pick'em, and sometimes the other team wins by 30 points. I think UMass went 1 for 20 from 3, something like that. I didn't play it, but man, they got boat raced, and glad I set it up. Notre Dame Va-Tech is next. This will be a grinder of a game. Typical Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, slow game. Decent offensive execution, very few turnovers, very few second chance opportunities. Good, clean, boring basketball, I guess. I just think the number's a little high. It's right in line with KenPom and stuff like that, but with recent data and shot quality, I'm on the Notre Dame side, so played a plus 7. Loyola Chicago, St. Joe's. This game is live right now. It's pretty much a toss-up as well. I think the tiebreaker is turnovers. Always a concern with Loyola Chicago, and they turned it over 19 times in their first meeting. So when you see these gray games down below, things could change. Like, for instance, if Oral Roberts got steamed up to, like, I don't know, 12 points for whatever reason, then it's like, oh, wow, I might grab some Bison action there. So it just kind of depends what happens with the remaining stuff. But as it looks right now, I have played these 4 on the left. UT Arlington plus 9.5, Merrimack minus 3.5, Northern Arizona plus 5.5, and Notre Dame plus 7. I considered St. Joe's, but I've had a very hectic day, missed tip, so we'll see what happens live. And then I'd put UM Lowell on my radar. Don't love it, but I'm kind of interested in that. And then New Orleans plus 7. So I'll get this posted because I know more games are going to keep tipping throughout the day, and we'll try to be much, much earlier tomorrow. This is Cutting